Have you ever been so desperate for a job you'd ignore all the red flags? I'm not talking about small things like a weirdly intense interviewer or a messy office. I'm talking about the kind of red flags that feel less like warnings and more like glitches in reality. That was me, about 8 months ago. I was laid off from my graphic design job. My savings were turning to dust, and my rent was looming like a storm cloud. I spent my days shotgunning my resume out to 100 different companies and my nights staring at the ceiling, doing the grim math of my dwindling bank account. It was on one of those late nights, scrolling through a bottom feeder job site, that I saw it. The listing was vague, almost clinically so. It was for a company called Aperture Data Solutions. The position was Remote Data Annotation Specialist. The pay was the first thing that made my eyes widen. It was generous, almost too generous for a job that required no experience and promised fully flexible hours. The description was where it got strange. It said the job involved viewing and tagging short-form video clips to assist in the development of advanced heuristic AI. It sounded like corporate jargon for watch videos and click buttons. The weirdest part was the single line at the bottom of the posting. Successful candidates will demonstrate a high aptitude for pattern recognition in nuanced human expression. Against my better judgment, fueled by coffee and desperation, I applied. I didn't even submit a resume. The application was just a link to a test. No name, no email, just a button that said Begin Assessment. The test was bizarre. It was a series of 100 still images of people's faces. They were all candid shots, like from security cameras or street photography. The faces showed every emotion you could think of: happiness, anger, surprise, boredom. My task was to label them. But then, about halfway through, a new kind of face started appearing. It wasn't an emotion I could name. It was a look of complete and utter blankness. But it was more than that. It was an active, intentional stillness. The face would be perfectly neutral, the eyes looking forward, but not really seeing anything. The mouth would be set in a perfectly straight line. It wasn't the slack-jawed look of someone zoning out. It was sharp, focused, yet empty. It lasted for maybe a second, a flicker between a smile and a frown, before their normal expression returned. The instructions simply labeled this expression as calibrating. I found I was good at spotting it, really good. It was like one of those optical illusions. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. I finished the test, and a message popped up. Thank you. If you are selected, you'll receive an email with onboarding instructions within 24 hours. The next morning, an email was waiting for me. It was from a no-reply address at Aperture Data Solutions. It contained a username, a password, and a link to a secure web portal. No welcome message, no HR paperwork, no name of a manager. Just a link and my credentials. My first payment, it said, would be deposited in 48 hours as a sign-on bonus. The money was real. So I logged in. My new job was simple. I was presented with a constant stream of short video clips, usually no more than 10 seconds long. They were all from fixed camera angles, CCTV from a coffee shop, a security camera in a parking garage, a wide shot of a public park. My only task was to watch the clips, and if I saw a person displaying that calibrating expression, I had to draw a box around their face and tag it. If no one did it, I'd just click next. For the first few weeks, it was the easiest money I'd ever made. I'd put on a podcast, zone out, and just watch the endless silent movies of people's lives. I'd tag maybe 4 or 5 calibrations an hour. It was rare. A fleeting twitch in a crowd, a momentary pause in a cashier's expression as he handed back change. Each time I tagged one, I'd get a little ping of satisfaction. The system would confirm my tag with a green check mark. My accuracy rate, according to a little dashboard in the corner, was 99.7%. The money hit my bank account every Friday, without fail. I never spoke to a single human being from the company. My only interaction was with the software. It was isolating, but honestly, I didn't care. I was paying my bills. That's when the first weird thing happened. I was at the grocery store, waiting in line. The woman in front of me was talking on her phone, laughing about something. She ended the call, put her phone in her purse, and turned to face forward. And for just a split second, her face went perfectly still. The smile vanished, not into a frown, but into that sharp, empty void. Her eyes were fixed on the back of the person in front of her, but they weren't seeing him. Her mouth was a perfect hard line. It was the calibrating face. It lasted maybe a second, and then she blinked, a normal, tired expression returning to her face as she sighed. I felt a cold shock go through me. I actually took a step back. I told myself I was just seeing things, that the job was getting to me, making me see patterns that weren't there. It had to be a coincidence. But then it happened again. A few days later, on a bus, a man reading a book looked up to see us stop, and as his eyes refocused on the door, his face did it. The stillness, that focused, unnerving blankness. I felt like I couldn't breathe. It was identical to what I was tagging all day. I started to get paranoid. I'd watch people on the street, on the news, in TV shows. I started seeing it everywhere. A politician in the middle of a speech, a reality TV star during a confessional, a random pedestrian in the background of a news report. It was always the same. A momentary, almost imperceptible reset of their expression. The job itself began to change, too. The quality of the videos was getting better. The blurry, distant CCTV footage was being replaced with clearer shots. Sometimes the camera angle seemed deliberate. Instead of a wide shot of a whole park, the camera would be zoomed in on a single bench, almost like it was waiting for someone to sit down. The number of calibrations I was tagging per hour started to go up. First 10, then 20, then 50. It was like a virus spreading, and my job was to document the infection. The true terror began on a Tuesday afternoon. A new video popped up. It was a doorbell camera angle pointing at the front door of a suburban house. A mailman walked up, put some letters in the slot, and walked away. As he turned, his face was in full view of the camera, and he did it. The complete dead stillness. He held it for 3 full seconds before his normal, cheerful demeanor returned. My blood ran cold. I knew that house. I knew that mailman. It was my parents' house, 3 states away. The mailman was their regular guy, a friendly man named Gary. I must have watched the clip 50 times. There was no doubt. It was him. I felt a surge of nausea. What was this? Where were they getting this footage? I almost closed the laptop right there and never looked back. But I couldn't. I had to know what was going on. For the first time, I looked for a way to contact someone at Aperture. There was no contact us page, no support email, no phone number. Just a feedback button. Hesitantly, I typed a message. The footage you are using is from private cameras. I just saw footage of my parents' mailman. Where is this coming from? I hit send. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, a red error message popped up. Feedback is for system performance only. Non-pertinent queries will be disregarded. My message was deleted. That night, I didn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Gary the mailman's blank face. I saw the grocery store cashier. I saw the man on the bus. They weren't just zoning out, they were offline. And something, this company, Aperture Data Solutions, was watching it, and I was helping them. I decided to keep working, but with a new purpose. I was going to find out what the hell was happening. I started taking screenshots of the videos, saving the clips to a hidden folder on my hard drive. I documented everything, the locations, the times, the people. I noticed another pattern. The calibrations were getting longer. What used to be a 1-second flicker was now becoming a 3-second, 5-second stare into nothing. The people performing them were also becoming more still. Before, they might still be walking or moving their hands. Now, when they calibrated, their entire body would freeze for the duration. A man stirring his coffee would stop, his hand hovering over the cup, his face a perfect dead mask, before continuing as if nothing happened. The final straw came last week. A new clip loaded. It was an office, my old office. The camera was positioned high in the corner, a place I never even knew a camera existed. I saw my old co-workers, people I'd had lunch with for years. I saw my friend, Sarah, walk over to the water cooler. She filled her cup, took a sip, and as she leaned against the wall, she did it. Her face went completely empty. Her eyes were fixed on a point in the distance, her body rigid. She held the expression for a full 10 seconds. I watched, my heart pounding in my chest, as my old boss walked up to her. He didn't seem to notice. He just tapped her on the shoulder. Sarah jolted, as if waking from a dream. She blinked rapidly, gave a confused smile, and the clip ended. I slammed my laptop shut. I felt sick. I was a voyeur, a spy, a participant in something monstrous and incomprehensible. I had to quit. But before I did, I had to know one more thing. I had to see it with my own eyes, without a screen in between us. I sent a text to Sarah. "Hey, long time no see. Up for coffee this weekend?" She replied almost instantly. "Yeah, definitely. Saturday." We met at a small coffee shop, a place we used to go to during our lunch breaks. It felt surreal, trying to act normal. I kept watching her face, searching for any sign of it. She seemed completely herself, laughing, complaining about our old boss, asking about my job search. I lied and said I was doing some freelance work. For an hour, nothing happened. I started to think I was going crazy, that the video was a deep fake or a hallucination. I started to relax. We were saying our goodbyes on the sidewalk outside. "It was so good to see you," she said, giving me a quick hug. "You too, Sarah," I said, my voice tight. She pulled back, smiling. Then, the smile vanished. Her face snapped into the calibrating expression. It was 1,000 times more terrifying in person. The life just drained out of her eyes, replaced by an awful, penetrating emptiness. Her head was cocked slightly, as if listening to a sound I couldn't hear. She was completely, utterly still. I couldn't speak. I couldn't move. I just stared, my blood turning to ice. It felt like an eternity, but it was probably only 5 seconds. Then she blinked. Her normal friendly expression flooded back into her face. "You okay?" she asked, a little furrow in her brow. "You look like you've seen a ghost." I couldn't form words. I just nodded dumbly. She gave me a strange look, then shrugged. "All right, well, text me soon, okay? Don't be a stranger." She turned and walked away, disappearing into the crowd. I stood there on the sidewalk for a long time, the city noise fading into a dull roar in my ears. It was real. It was happening. And it was spreading. This wasn't just some data collection project. They weren't building an AI. They were changing people or tracking a change that was already occurring. I went home and immediately logged into the Aperture portal. I found the Deactivate Account button buried in the settings. I clicked it. A simple message popped up. Are you sure? All pending payments will be forfeited. I clicked yes without hesitation. The screen went blank, then redirected me to the login page. It was over. I had cut the cord. I spent the rest of the day deleting the files, the screenshots, wiping every trace of Aperture Data Solutions from my computer. I felt a profound sense of relief, like I had just woken up from a nightmare. But the nightmare wasn't over. It was just beginning. This morning, an email arrived. It was from Aperture Data Solutions, from the same no-reply address. I almost deleted it without reading, but my curiosity got the better of me. The subject line was, "Your final performance review." My hands were trembling as I opened it. The email was short, containing just a single attached image file and 2 lines of text. The text read, "Accuracy, 100%. You are now fully calibrated." Beneath the text was the image. It was a still, taken from the webcam on my own laptop. It was me. I was sitting at my desk, staring at the screen. My face was completely blank. It was the expression, the perfect, still, empty face of calibration. I didn't remember it happening. I didn't feel it happen. But the timestamp in the corner of the image was from just 5 minutes before the email was sent. I'm looking in the mirror now as I record this. I'm trying to see it. I'm trying to feel it. I feel like myself, but I keep staring, waiting for my own face to betray me, waiting for the moments my eyes go empty and my expression flatlines. The scariest part isn't the feeling that I'm being watched anymore. The scariest part is the feeling that I've become one of the things I was watching. I don't know what calibration is. I don't know what it's for. But I think my training is complete, and I'm terrified of what comes next.